TV remote. My new favorite TV show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on.
Well, I'm watching my favorite show, Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time sucks.
Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. sucks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. need to bring on fucking Elsa because ratings were dropping?
Agent Coulson died of the Avengers.
No! It's mine! No! I want to watch it! Where are we?
Our living room.
So we didn't actually go anywhere with that.
Nah.
Fucking Samsung, goddamn flashes of light and shit.
You wanna watch a movie?
Yeah, okay. We watched a movie today.
Avengers!
Grimm.
Avengers!
Grimm.
So much Avengers.
Alright, so this is the Asylum mocking the Avengers.
And Once Upon a Time.
And that's about it. That's all they're really mocking. But, I mean, right off the bat, it wasn't terrible.
I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was actually pretty damn good.
I really actually enjoyed it. I
So,
was surprised.
I'll get into the plot real quick.
It's a relief.
We begin in the fairy tale land that is part of the 10th Kingdom, if you've watched that miniseries, where all the fairy tale creatures are real and blah, 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 blah. And Rumpelstiltskin is leading a march on Snow White's kingdom and is like, hey, give me that shit. And she's like, you killed my husband. Oh, shit, it's terrible.
Poor gay.
So then she's like, she has the magic mirror, and he's like, well, I'll make a deal with you, because that's his thing, deals. I'll make a deal with you. If you make a portal through that magic mirror, because that's just the thing, don't question it, I'll go through the portal with my whole army, and I won't bother you. You can have your whole kingdom back. And she's like, fine. And she opens it up, but then she, I guess, has buyer's remorse or something.
And she has ice powers.
Oh yeah, she has ice powers, and she jumps through with them. Cut forward some period of time later.
I don't know, it's undisclosed.
All the other princesses, Rapunzel, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and also Red Riding Hood, who recognizes that she's not a princess, but whatever. They're all like, oh man, we gotta go save Snow White. Red Riding Hood's like, psh, I just want to kill the wolf. That's my only business.
Yeah, because the Big Bad Wolf is part of this.
Yeah, so then they all go through the portal through one reason or another, and the portal shatters, the mirror shatters, and they have a shard of the mirror. And the entire rest of the movie is about how they're in our world, the real world, and Rumpelstiltskin is currently the mayor of, like, L.A. pretty much. They don't say it, but L.A. pretty much.
Yeah, well, yeah, they shoot in L.A.
And they're trying to take him down and free this world, despite his, like, mind-controlling powers. And he's trying to get a hold of the little mirror shard that they have with them so that he can bring his army through. Movie ends with the entire army beginning to come through, but then Lou Ferrigno as Iron John, coming on to the Robin Hood mythos. Iron John, who's literally made of iron, brings down the building that the portal was in, killing him, shutting down the portal, and then Snow White kills both herself and Rumpelstiltskin in an act that also traps them in the world that they are currently in. You know, when I say it now, it's all a lot more complex than I thought it was. But anyway, Matthew.
In the middle of it, it actually is pretty, it's pretty fun all the way through. I mean, like, you don't really get caught up too much because it's pretty one thing after another.
Yeah. Well, what did you think of the acting?
Well, the acting in and of itself is pretty standard, mostly across the board for Asylum movies. So, you know, a lot of cheese, a lot of ham, you know. There's not a lot of bread there, but enough to make a nice solid sandwich.
Some Ritz crackers.
Yeah, some Ritz crackers and whatnot. It's like you didn't have quite enough fluff to get out to really make it an Asylum movie. But at the same time, having said that, this movie came out last year, 2015, and it's by far the best Asylum movie I've seen. And it's not the fact that it's any... the production values are pretty damn normal, especially for it came to like the photoshopped fire and explosions and gunshots and stuff like that off of wooden tables. Somehow they make metallic gunshots.
I'm pretty sure that was metal though.
I'm pretty sure it was wood, but either way, the fact of the matter is, it's just like the acting. There are two places, actually there's a handful of places that it really shines. Overall, the acting is delightfully hammy and cheesy. There's a couple of parts where I'm like, okay, that was just straight up bad. Yeah. But other than that, I think the two people that had the most amount was Lou Ferrigno. For some reason, he was in this movie, but at the same time, he was thoroughly enjoyable. He owned every solitary ounce that he was on screen, and I thank you for that. But the second guy is the guy who plays Rumpelstiltskin. I can never remember his name. Casper Van Dien? Yeah, Casper Van Dien. For those who are fans of Paul Verhoeven movies, this is Johnny Rico from Starship Troopers. Woo. I love it. I love it to death. And also, he's been in a handful of other movies that we've already come across.
He was Van Helsing in Dracula 3000.
Yeah, so he's already been in this. We probably said something good about him. If we didn't, check the review. But for me, like, the fact of the matter is, though, the acting in this, everyone's just enjoying the roles. I can't... the only time that I saw, like, some shit, like, okay, you should have taken, like, another take of that or something like that, was usually in the bigger scenes where everyone is all acting together. When you have isolated shots and all that, they end up pulling off a relatively decent performance given the material and the confines of which they're working with.
Yeah, for me, definitely just Lou Ferrigno and Casper Van Dien. Oh my god, I love them both. The girl who played Red Riding Hood, we made a comment that she was basically the poor man's, because she's the poor man's
poverty-stricken
Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah.
She's got that badass vibe to her, and there's a few times when she's actually like really badass. Like when she's first confronting Lou Ferrigno, she's handcuffed and she jumps over him in this very nice stunt and has her handcuffs over.
Don't know
his
if
neck.
it was another stunt person.
I don't even care. I mean, the character as a whole is great.
Yeah, it was fun. It's a nice twist on Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, but yeah, as for acting, I mean, the only one that I really had a problem with was the woman who played Sleeping Beauty. And it's not because she was a bad actress, but because I think the director, or she read from the script, that this person should be a bitch. And she got...
in every way.
She got that bitch across real strong.
Like, too much.
To the point where I was like, shut up.
And she never changes either.
And, just to jump into the next segment of script, just throwing this out there, each of them have powers. Snow White has ice powers. Cinderella has like transfiguration and morphing powers. Sleeping Beauty has the ability to
put you to sleep.
And Rapunzel just has long hair, which I guess really isn't a power, as you think about it.
No, I mean, she has a fucking like
she has
mace.
Like a mace in her
attached to the end of her hair, so it's a flail basically.
And
I mean, is she able to grow her hair at will because she's able to like?
I don't know.
I mean,
and Red Riding Hood's just an amazing archer.
Yeah, and she knows how to pick locks. She's basically the rogue. She's the rogue of the movie.
So, anyway, script.
Overall, this script is, again, ironically enough, the best that I've probably heard. Overall heard coming out of Asylum. It knows what it is, but it still manages to do something with it that's relatively interesting. Like, if you had much more like refined actors playing these roles and not trying to go for goofy, like, they're literally trying to go for like seriousness, you could pull off some reasonable performances. And that's mainly due to the fact that the script itself is something that, you can easily work with, and it's funny. I mean, it's funny at times when it shouldn't be, and it's funny at times where it should. Yeah. I think that it works pretty well just across the board when just generalized dialogue is concerned. Like the funny thing is, I never got the feeling, unless like you have movies like Transmorphers, where it's fucking obvious what they're ripping off. This one kind of feels, even though the title is like a slap to the
Avengers
face.
Grimm, and they even title drop it too.
Yeah, it's just
like we're going to save these people for our kingdoms because we're Avengers.
Yeah.
And I was like, boy, that sure is grim.
It's like you just. It's like, but just overall, the fact of the matter is like the story is self-contained. I actually would not mind seeing Asylum put out a sequel to this, because the way it ends with Snow White kind of opening her eyes at the end is like, and they just kind of saved that post-credit scene to before the credits because nobody was going to watch the credits. Because this isn't Marvel. But Asylum knows that. Asylum knows exactly what they were doing with this. I don't know who the director is and what they've done before.
I'll check out during the next episode.
But overall, the fact of the matter is, though, I think that the acting services, the script services the movie pretty well.
For me personally, the only problem I really have with the script was that the characters, the main bunch of princesses, were always going to the place where they either should have just stayed, they should have stayed there, and the next plot point would have happened where they were, or they were just like, oh, we should go to this place, and then the next plot point was happening somewhere else. They were never intersecting with where the plot was until like the end, where they finally ran into Rumpelstiltskin. Even then, they oh my god. Oof. Sinister Squad. We might get to that one day.
The director, Jeremy M. Inman. I will get to you in a bit.
So I personally really liked almost everything. They had a bit that was mirroring the Black Widow and Hulk relationship from the Avengers movies, because Rapunzel had red hair and then Lou Ferrigno was literally the Hulk, which is hilarious if you realize that he played the Hulk. He was the Incredible Hulk on the old TV show. That's ridiculous.
And I loved it.
And they played the thing where it's like, you always have a choice. Like, no, I don't have a choice anymore.
But you do.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed almost everything they were doing in this movie. I mean, it was the Rumpelstiltskin was absolutely
I loved
great.
him.
His writing, you could really see if it was performed by somebody who didn't have just sort of like that Jaime Lannister appeal to him. He would have just come off as like, oh, shut up, no one cares. But because he did, it was like, I like you, man.
I like this guy.
I like you.
I like it a lot.
So, yeah. But overall, there was only a few laughable parts in the way of the tech, which, if you want to get into.
I mean, the tech, the very beginning of the movie, because we have a history with Asylum films, it's just like, of course, it's like, all right, you're seeing a couple random shots and whatnot, and then you have this shot of like a village burning down where it's being like raided by this horde, and every single like ounce of these flames, I'm like, this is so Photoshop. Yeah. Like, wow! But at the same time, though, like, it was funny, and at the very but to be honest, that's pretty much as bad as it got.
Yeah.
The effects, Lou Ferrigno turning into metal, they just kind of gave him the Tin Man treatment, where he's just kind of covered in silver paint. Which, to be fair, though, they do a decent job with the Foley.
Every time he moves, it's...
And he's just like...
Yeah.
It's like, and you can hear the kinging and all that stuff. So it's like they do a decent job with the Foley. The makeup and whatnot was kind of silly, but at the same time, though, it serviced what it needed to serve. The special effects of him getting that way were pretty bad. It looked like somebody was like doing like a bubble screensaver over him. But when it comes down to the camera shots, like actually in the very beginning, there was a shot, I believe it was Snow White in the very beginning, when she was running in the field.
Yes.
It's like, they had this narration over it that really you had no need for. And I was saying to David that, if you had cut the narration out, it kind of had like the Blade Runner appeal to it. It's like, it's like if you cut the narration out and just had the shots of her running, this would relatively be a really decent movie to watch.
Sorry, I just had to show Matt this one thing.
Oof.
Sinister Squad, which we just discovered existed, is a sequel to this movie.
Oh, wow. I've checked that for later.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, and I was saying just at the end of the damn movie that they should have made a sequel for it. I did not think that they were going to go that route.
They did it.
Oof.
So anyway,
now I'm worried.
For me on the technical side, I really basically mirror what Matt says. Anytime that they had to do something like, that required a Photoshop, like they needed to set a building on fire or whatever, or when the building came down on Lou Ferrigno's character, Iron John, it really did look fake. But they got the particle effects down. I'm pretty sure they've got that down in Asylum. Whenever they were doing their magic to put someone to sleep or the ice magic or whatever, that was pretty much spot on. They didn't really have any problems with that.
Yeah. We were trying to do a lot more than what your budget qualified for, and that was something different.
The worst part, I would say, the part that it set us on edge to hate this, and it pulled it back, which was good, but it set us on edge to hate it, was the fact that they opened up the movie with the Asylum, Once Upon a Time, and boom, Avengers Grimm. And it was like, whoa, alright, so we're just getting, alright, cool.
Okay, alright. Let's do this movie.
Yeah, so, but with the technicals, no, everything was basically fine. Sound balance was pretty much good. The visuals, they played around a bit too harsh on some colors. Sometimes you were saying the orange.
There's a lot of orange and teal.
But that's mainly with just blockbusters nowadays.
Which makes it worse.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's some parts, like, I was saying that there was a lot of elements of this that kind of reminded me of, like, of an episode of Charmed gone wrong. And for those who are not aware of whatnot, I actually am a fan of the Charmed TV show. And as much as it is like straight cheese, I mean, it was the 90s. All you people who like Buffy and whatnot, everybody know that the first couple seasons of that shit were cheesy as fuck.
Yeah.
And you love it for it too. So that's the exact same type of cheese that this thing has going for it. And there was one part of it that, it was like, when it looked like Rumpelstiltskin was kind of at like the head of the peak of his success, and you had just the guy get thrown into there, and he just had this shot of him that's perfectly lit on both sides, and just like he just leans forward, like he's about to offer him a deal and stuff like that. I'm like, this seems like the end of like a pilot episode.
Yeah, it's like I really do want to know what's going to happen next. But then but then the episode doesn't stop, and they just say like, that's all of what's going on right now. Let's continue on with the show. It's like
like it had moments in it where I'm like, this is actually decent. This is pretty.
Well, go into your final thoughts.
It's like, well, I mean, if we're gonna go into final thoughts, overall, the fact of the matter is, though, this movie was fun. I actually do recommend it. I think it's the first Asylum movie that I can actually openly recommend, not as a just thing just because of how bad the movie is. There are definitely parts of the movie that are bad. Duh, it's Asylum. They know what they are. They know what they do. But at the same time, though, everyone is having such a ball with their role, and everybody's having fun behind the camera too. I can tell.
Yeah.
Like this movie is very, considering how dark some parts of it is and whatnot, it's very bright and cheery. And I think a lot of great attitudes came into releasing this movie, so it made me kind of happy at the end of it to watch it. So I can't recommend it higher than I am right now. It's definitely one of the movies that we came in expecting it to be absolutely shit, and then it just ended up surprising us, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing, especially in times like these.
Yeah, that was when we were picking out movies to do recently. I went on to a website and I looked through like what is the lowest in overall of Netflix, not just genre by genre, overall. And this was pretty close to the bottom. Like, not counting like comedy stand-up shows and stuff like that, or like Real Aliens in Nazi Germany. This was pretty close to the bottom. I'm like, oh geez, this is gonna be terrible. Awesome. And we watched it. I'm like, what are people so upset about? And I think it's this. If you go into this expecting Avengers, you're going to have a bad time. If you go into this expecting, I've never seen it, as the opening joke says, Once Upon a Time, odds are you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
This show, this movie, if you go in expecting Asylum,
just Asylum and nothing else.
If you go in expect not like, oh, I want to watch a terribly bad movie. No. If you go in expecting like, oh, I want to watch a movie that's so bad it's good. that's when you'll be like, wow, actually, I'm pretty impressed by how it did. If you're looking for pain, this isn't going to be bad enough to give you pain.
This reminds us, and as we said before, probably when we were watching the movie itself, is like the fact of the matter is it reminds us a lot of Big Money Rustlers with the St. Cloud Posse. We were expecting to hate that movie with every fiber of our being, and it turned out to be not that bad.
No.
This is not that bad. This is better than Big Money Rustlers, but at the same time, though, like it was still an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, definitely. So overall for me, I would definitely say, yeah, give it a watch. It's not the best movie you're going to find, though with Netflix's ever-shrinking library, it might be close. I'm torn because it's Asylum, and I feel like just in my gut I should not be recommending it to that degree, but I am. So, yeah, go ahead, check out Avengers Grimm.
Yes.
And maybe eventually Sinister Squad, but let's pump the brakes on that for now. Anyway, that's
Avengers Grimm.
we suck at endings.
Yeah, we do.
We suck at them.
I mean, we put a lot of effort into the review.
I'm going to bed.
I mean, we put a lot of effort into making.
Shut up.
I mean, we just
Shut up. Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? You're goddamn right.
All the bad boys want some more, it's tricky. And girls enjoy, they feel so lucky. Loving it, quits running out that door. Calling their mom while they lick the floor. How the funky monkeys got them walking store. They're lost side and rolling like a rubber cord. Who can believe that there would be some gold with those worms like I said before?
Mirror, mirror, on the wall. If I say something related to Trump, are the comments gonna go fucking crazy?